still have churches like that, I think we need to send SOS to them to change their policy.
Yeah, so why do we have to show love? Even the Bible commands it. In 1 Peter 4:8, most important of all, continue to show deep love for each other, for love covers a multitude of sins. Just like we said, when there's so much love, when there's so much deposit, you'll be able to overlook the little things. That is why love has to be there. And what happens when our needs are not met as spouses? If you remain in the marriage, you are frustrated. A lot of people are in marriages that they are enduring rather than enjoying. And God is the one that instituted marriage. That's not his intention. So if you're in a marriage and we are just getting by and we are not happy, God is not pleased. And then in the worst scenario, the frustration may lead to your spouse trying to find that need outside. And this is very critical and important. You know, when there's a need, is a vacuum. And that thirst is so much that it has to be quenched. So many times, you know, people who have done research on affairs and so on, they find that in most cases, it's not something that someone just thought about that, oh, I just want to go and have an affair with a man or a woman. Sometimes it starts on an emotional level, connecting with someone, you know, talking about things that you need and things that, you know, you don't have, and all of a sudden, that just turns into something else. It's not that people go out sometimes. I know that sometimes we just allow ourselves to yield to temptation, but at the same time, it doesn't start that way. So that's why sometimes when people see maybe the second wife or someone that someone has after they're like, how come? How can you have such a wife and you're with this person? Oh. You know, thinking that maybe the wife is beautiful and everything, but sometimes it's not just beauty. So these relationships sometimes are illogical, but they are from an emotional standpoint. And another thing is that, I'm sure it's not news to any one of us here, that this doesn't exclude men and women of God, Christians, pastors, you know, people go through things even when they are Christians. And so this is why we have to be careful and put things in place so that we can keep love alive in our relationship. That's really the basic thing. And the next slide talks about the behaviors that we exhibit that cause withdrawal most of the time are in two parts. The instinct that they are born with. You know, the Bible says, for in sin was I conceived. Yes, from my mother's womb I was conceived in sin. So we have things that we are born with or that we inherited from our parents. You know, things that we do, behaviors that we exhibit that may, you know, not be pleasant to our spouses. And then there are behaviors that we cultivate. You know, maybe we see other people doing things and we copy, you know, or peer pressure or whatever it is. So those behaviors come from all those areas, but they have the intent of killing love, or the effect is that they kill love. And there's no behavior that we have that God cannot take care of.
Amen. Amen. Praise the Lord. And on that note, in fact, when we were preparing this and my wife was putting it down, it came to me. I said, maybe the gene of having an emotional relationship with other women was transferred to me from my father. Because while we were courting, and in those days, it's not something that one is proud to repeat again, but see, to think about it, I thought there was a lady that I was going out with, and the lady was ready to be my second wife. Because she knew that I was madly in love with my lovely girlfriend in those days, and I yielded a little bit to the temptation. You know how men can be so flattered, you know, when the woman comes in, knows that they are getting along with another one. And and I was looking, I said, my father had 2 wives. Maybe it would be okay to kind of manage 2 wives too, you know.
I would not have been the first wife.
Oh, you would not have been, okay. Okay, but I thank God that the Lord just took care of that aspect in my own life. And instead of now going down that kind of slippery slope of failure and destruction, the Lord turned it into something wonderful for me, that we began now to see this ministry as something that we need to invest heavily in. And the Lord has done so mighty even through this ministry. So quickly, we want to recognize some of the love busters. Those things that constitute big withdrawals that have been identified that would bust our love. when you start making selfish demands of your partner, of your spouse, and you start criticizing and always blaming the other person for anything that happens, that will kill love in anybody, whether it is the man or the woman. When the man thinks that all the time he's being criticized, nagged upon, that is a lot of withdrawal. Disrespectful judgment, when you start making judgment about your spouse, that you disrespect her or you disrespect him, especially in a public place. That is a very big one. Angry outbursts, that is when you lack discipline and control. You may be angry, but for you now to display it to the point that the other person and people around now recognize that, oh, this guy is mad with a wife. This woman cannot just tolerate this man next to him. And sometimes this will lead to emotional abuse and domestic abuse, battery, abusive words, curses. I mean, there was a gentleman that we were trying to work with, and there was a time that we had to bring them to our house. Unfortunately, our daughter was at home, and I could remember she was very traumatized when she heard what the man was saying to the wife, to the point that we were thinking that if he did something that we were not expecting, we were going to call the police. And our daughter quickly came back down and said, "Daddy, please don't let this man come to this house again." And because she never witnessed anything like that, and we thought we could have like a little time together with the two of them, but it got out of hand with angry outbursts. How about annoying behaviors? What can constitute annoying behaviors? I know some of the things sometimes that I don't feel comfortable for my wife to be doing. But but now she knows some of those things, and she is trying. And I hope that I know some of those things that really annoy you too.
Do you ever walk in?
You know? Of course, there are so many annoying tendencies that you point out to me that I'm working on. But you see, those annoying tendencies, when they become habitual, then it becomes a major problem. How about being dishonest? I understand that there are some people who are doing big things and they are not even conferring with their spouses. You know? For a spouse to just wake up one day and they just say, someone leaked out to her or him that there's a house that you've been building in Abakaliki right there, and that the people are now living in that house that you built, and your spouse was just hearing it for the first time. That is total dishonesty, and that will constitute a huge amount of withdrawal. How about being dominant and being controlling? I think men are usually accused of that much more than women. I know that there are some women who can be so controlling too, but I think women have been found so much guilty in this area that we just want to have dominion over everything. We misinterpret the word of God and say, okay, God has given us dominion and authority, and we want to abuse that authority and use these as a means of control. Some other forms of love busters include things like emotional abandonment and silent treatment. I'm sure those are terms that we're all familiar with. When you want to get into some discussion, there's an issue in the family that we need to talk about, and the other person decides to just use silent treatment to deal with it. They go into hibernation, and you find out that they're not even talking to you, or they don't want to even talk about the issue at hand. That is a big area that we can get into busting love. And it's also the same gentleman that wrote the book that we talked about, Isness and Arnit, that also came up with this emotional love account, is the same one that also wrote this book called Love Busters. So that these are things that we want to avoid. Infidelity and pornography. Is this something that we can discuss here? Yes, because in fact, we go to a marriage enrichment once a year, spending 3 days, and we've been doing this for how many years?
14.
Hallelujah, 14. I thought it was 15. Okay, 14 or 15, I think I know. But we've been doing this repeatedly every year, and we just can't wait for this year coming up. And I think it's going to be on the 15th to, our own is going to be 15 to 17. And we go every year and we learn a lot of things from this. And with the help of God, we come out of those retreats with new commitment and resolution to make things better in our lives. And in one of those sessions, pastors came to even share with us that they have found out statistically that a lot of pastors are actually guilty of this. You know? So some of us think that pastors are there and we're all elders and priests in our households, and we are all in the position of pastoral services in the vineyard of God. And so we still see that we find ourselves guilty of this, even pornography. And this is going to be robbing away from and chipping away from the law. And that was what my wife was referring to about the session that we had in Nigeria. It was actually in the town of Ede, where we had that the woman just jumped up that if there is infidelity, that's $1 billion withdrawal. And we knew that she understood totally what we were talking about. How about negative or poor communication skills? I'm still learning every day. And my wife would you say that I'm doing better or not? Hallelujah, praise the Lord. You see, when you go to school and you are repeating and you are not moving forward, then there is no hope. But when your spouse can tell you that you are doing better, that means that there is hope and that you are doing better. And how about unrealistic expectations of each other? Don't we do that all the time? We assume so much of the other person when in actual fact we have not actually communicated our needs to them. But I think I've been found guilty of that, to expect that my wife will know what I need even before I say it. Some days she will get it, but quite a few days I will be expecting and expecting. And if I don't mention it, I will be expecting till kingdom come in some issues. But I think we just need to temper down our unrealistic expectation of one another, so that what you have not shared, you cannot expect and hold the other person responsible for it. Thank you.
Yes, so we've talked about what the needs are, what we would like to get from our spouses. If we get there, we're satisfied, we're happy, we have full lives, we just enjoy our marriage. And the converse is true. If we don't get that, then we're sad, we're frustrated, and it can affect the marriage. And the Bible says, be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. So when it comes to our spouses, that just means that whatever it is that will make our spouse happy, let's do that. And as I do that for my husband, and he does it for me, we're all happy.
Can you share some of the things that I do that really make you happy? Because it looks like we're being theoretical about this. Could you think of one?
I know one. I know one.
Okay. He said he knows.
Oh yeah.
That's my brother. Please.
Okay, so help me out.
Please say it.
When he prepares samala.
Okay, thank you, my brother.
When he prepares samala.
Hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Very good. Yeah. I mean, my husband does a lot of things. He's very caring. So when you exhibit, care towards me, I really appreciate that. And when I'm tired, you can just, pick up cooking, and I really appreciate that.
Okay. I will do more of that. Yeah, so that I can keep depositing because of the day of withdrawal coming.
You don't plan for it.
No, I don't plan it.
Okay. How about me?
You do everything well. so well that you deposit so much into my life. My wife has actually enriched my life so much that she in fact, look at this thing that I'm wearing. You know, sometimes she just said it. We travel a lot, and I don't have time to prepare anything. And I would ask my wife, I said, I don't need any more dress. Why would you? I mean, we just came back from Nigeria, and one day I just saw a man came into the house and wanted to start taking my measurement. I said, what measurement? I have no measurement. And before I knew it, 5 different kind of attires came, and I said, oh, I told you, please don't let me see where that money was withdrawn from. I mean, I can put it on, but I don't want to know where it came out from. So she has a way of just doing a lot of these things, and I just thank the Lord for my beautiful wife.
Amen.
One thing I appreciate about my husband is his care for my family. Because I hear a lot of women complain, you know, it's like you take care of your family and you take care of your family, you know, that can really make a lot of deposit. Because if he finds a need in my family, I don't have to be asking, I don't have to say somebody needs this, somebody needs that. He has just taken my family as his own family. Yeah. So if he still needs to take care of it, I don't have to beg him, I don't have to do him. So that for me is very high. My parents were just here for a whole year, and it was a wonderful time throughout. There was no clash, there was nothing. You know, my husband was understanding and my parents were understanding, so I thank God for that.
Amen.
Okay, so before we go to the next slide, which is his needs, you know, this author has come up with certain things for this research as to what men need. But we have real men right here. Can you close that up? We want the men to say, you know, generally, what do you think? What are needs that men have? Even before we look at that, just briefly.
They have seen it already.
Okay.
Okay, let's